And we just kind of want to, we want to work all the major parts of the spine just to bring movement into it. So first, what's going on with the arms? And we did a lot of arm movements in that last class. If you want to go like a front and back, or you want to do both front and back, just noticing how those shoulders feel. It doesn't have to be big movements. Just bring some motion into the arms, maybe into the elbows, fingers, wrists, and gentle movements, right? So this doesn't have to be crazy, doesn't have to be big. Gentle movements so that it feels good. When we move any of these joints, that synovial fluid starts moving too, and that's good, right? Motion is lotion. So whatever you can do, go ahead. And then once you've done everything with these arms, open, close, whatever it takes, front and back, then pause and let's pay a little bit more attention to the shoulders. And make some shoulder circles here. And then take them in the other direction. Just, again, releasing tension that we hold on to naturally up there. And then pause and just notice what all of that feels like, all of that movement that we just did. You start to feel energy moving around, what's happening. From our nice standing, solid stance here, this is our mountain pose. Let's just lean over to one side. So think about stretching inside body. And if you want, you just pick up that elbow. No fast movements. Just moving that spine. So we're doing that lean right, lean left. And then pause again. Notice how things feel. If you want to take that side body stretch and just hang out there for a breath or two, not a bad idea. And this arm, this top arm, can be wherever you need it to be. And then do the other side. So side body stretch, other side, noticing what it feels like. And then return. Okay. With our feet just a little bit wider, just for, again, a more solid base. Just real gentle movements, gentle twist. So my elbows are bent, and I'm just making movement. And let's keep our head moving within the shoulders. So let the head, actually, technically the neck is being still here, right? But you're just kind of tracking, keeping that head neutral here. Because we want to be real kind to the neck. So a little bit of twisting. If you like, you want to lift the elbows a little higher, of course you can. Sometimes, sometimes it's hard to just come to the mat and lie down and rest. Sometimes it's easy too, don't get me wrong. So I just thought today we could maybe burn off a little bit of that energy and then come to the mat and rest. And then let the arms be long again. Actually, let's let the arms be real long. And then slow down these twisting movements. And just notice how that feels. Soften into your knees. If you want to make a couple of circles with those knees, go ahead. I'm always real gentle with the knees. So make circles one way, make circles the other. I'm just kind of letting my body go around there. And then pause. Come back to center and bring your hands to your hips. And we'll make some circles with the upper body. And you notice that as the upper body is kind of moving, the hips are going in the other way, which is kind of fun, right? Everything's connected. And in yoga, we kind of celebrate that, which I love. Then take your circles in the other direction. Your knees can be soft. And then just do a pause and notice. We'll bring our feet a little bit closer together. And we're going to shift weight front to back. So this isn't a big movement. It's subtle. And you're going to feel the weight go into your toes, and your toes might even clench, and then weight back to heels. And I kind of like that feeling when we come back to the heels. I feel the sense of rest. Let's take a few more here. Just front and back, simple movements, nothing fancy. Like I said, I'm working with a new space, trying to figure out where everything belongs so that I can do it right. And then pause and come back to stillness. Maybe a little side to side. And then just come to stillness in the center. Come to Tadasana, mountain pose. And we know that even mountains, while they're, grand and they look so permanent, right? They're not. There's movement constant. Constantly moving things on the mountain. The wind, the air. So just notice how this feels. And then one last movement is going to be moving in and out of chair. So I'm just turning to the side so you can see me. I'm going to let my hips go back, my arms come forward, knees bend, right? It doesn't have to be deep. And come on back up. So just bringing some motion. Yeah. I like to exhale as the arms go forward and inhale from the back. And then stop. Now, we're going to make our way down to our mat. We're going to do a little bit of cat and cow, and then we're going to start coming into stillness. Cat and cow on your knees is not for you. Make your way to a chair or to seated on your mat, and we're going to do some rounds of cat and cow. If you're standing and you're looking for a functional way to come down, I bring my hands to my hips. I step one leg or the other back, doesn't matter. Come onto the toes. Gently bend the knee and come down. Okay, so a couple of rounds of cat and cow. Just so it feels good, right? Moving into the spine. We did front, back, side, side. We did all kinds of spine motions. And now we're doing this nice wave forward and back, inhaling and exhaling. Everything set up here. And then just come back to neutral. And sit back on your heels or find a comfortable seat, and I'll show you where we're going. So in this case, I'm using this bolster, but you can easily use pillows from your bed or a sofa or roll of blankets. And I'm also using a blanket here. And I'm going to use a blanket under my spine. The cushion's going to go under my feet. So I'm going to roll up this blanket like almost like a yoga mat. So if you have a spare yoga mat, if you have a second one, you could use that as well. So I'm rolling this up nice and skinny, looks like my spine, and I'm going to put it on the mat. And then my bottom goes on the mat, bottom on the mat. My bottom is not on the blanket. And then I let my body come down, supported. My spine is supported by this blanket. And I can let my legs rest here. Oh, this is very nice. Palms are out. Now, if your head and neck need extra support, having this long blanket means I can roll up the end. Or you could get a second blanket or towel to lift up your head a little bit. You might decide you'd rather have your feet supported. I might decide that. This is a big bolster for me. So I might put a rolled up blanket underneath my heels at this point. Arms are wide, palms are up. And now we come into stillness. So the invitation again is to close the eyes. Some people don't feel comfortable with that. That's why it's just an invitation, not a demand. As you rest here though, this is where I'm going to be switching camera angles. So you rest, settle into the pose. I'm going to turn off my camera and then turn it back on. We're still all connected, so don't sweat that. Let go of any tension that you're holding on to in the face, in the jaw. Let the shoulders rest down into the earth and let your legs rest heavily onto that cushion. And we'll begin our transition from this pose. So just stay here, take a breath. Bring a little motion into the fingers, wrists, feet, and toes. And then one at a time, bend the knees and bring them into the body. We're just going to make our way one side or the other. So it doesn't matter which side, just roll off that blanket, roll off, and then pause. And then using the arms down into the floor to help yourself up to a comfortable seat. And once you get there, just pause and notice how you feel. As always, the pause just as important, right? We have to notice the effects. So we're going to clear our mats and we're coming into a forward fold now. We can use this cushion and perhaps flex. And we know that we're all different shapes and have different flexibility. So I'll give you a lot of choices, but I'm probably the least flexible of anyone in this group right now. So here's the way I'm going to do it. We're going to take a forward fold with our legs over the cushion, whether it's a pillow from your bed or a cushion. This one is a very firm cushion. It doesn't have a lot of hours of use. So it's a lot of work. So I take my blanket, I'm going to fold up my blanket and bring it to sit on, put my bum on the blanket to lift me up much better. And then my feet can come down. Now, as a forward fold, I want something that will allow me to relax. So I'm going to take my blocks and stack them here and just let my head come down. My spine is rounded, yes. My head is supported and my hands are just resting one on either ankle. So my arms can rest, my shoulders can rest, everything can rest and be supported. So this is a forward fold. I would say I hope that your pillow isn't quite so hard as mine, because I think you'd be happier with a little bit softer here. If you need the lift to lift your bottom up so that you can hinge forward comfortably, please get as many blankets, towels, whatever it is that you need. So we're going to be here for about 5 minutes. Let the shoulders come down from your ears. This is a forward fold. And then just come back to those slow and even breaths. we will begin our transition from this pose. So very slowly, just make your way back up to seated. It's a slow journey. And once you get there, you might want to move that cushion from beneath your legs. You can push it away. And just come to a seat. We let the glitter settle. Notice how that feels. Okay. And now, as in our previous class, our chair yoga class, we're gonna be repeating some poses, but the same but different, just to notice how things feel. Knowing that when we come into January, not every January is the same, and neither are we. So we're gonna roll up that blanket again, and we're gonna make that tube again, but this time we're not gonna use the cushion underneath the legs. So let's move that off to the side. Same thing, although if you like this time, you can put your bottom onto the cushion or onto the rolled up blanket and then come on down. Let the head be supported by the blanket. Add more support to the head if you need it. And we're going to let the legs be wide. Let the toes flop open. Coming into like a starfish pose. We'll even lift our arms a little higher, maybe shoulder height or higher, coming about here. Palms are up. So similar pose, lying on the floor supported by a blanket. But some features are different. We're coming here after a restful forward fold, whereas before we came into this pose after some standing movement. So once you get into the pose, see what it's like to rest here now. Now I'm keeping track of time. I'll tell you when it's time to move again. It's time to begin our transition from this pose. So just begin to deepen that breath a little bit and bring some motion into fingers and wrists. And then wiggle those toes. And one at a time, bend the knees, putting the feet on the mat. And again, we're just going to roll to one side or the other, does not matter which. You can rest your head on your arm like a pillow. Take your time. And then we'll use our arms to push us back up to seated. So we use those arms to help us. When we come to that seat again, we pause and notice how we feel. So that was a similar pose, a back bend, noticing how it felt coming into that pose after a forward fold or coming into that pose after we were standing and moving. So we're going to move to the side body now. So again, I get the pillow or the cushion, and I hope yours is softer than mine. And we probably will need our blanket as well. So I'm folding this up into a small square. This bath towel would work just as well. So we're coming into a side body stretch. I'm going to put my bottom on the floor, and I'm going to stretch my body over this cushion. Now, again, I told you how tough this is, and I am very short-bodied, right? I'm short, so I would be better served by something a little bit lower or more towels and blankets here. But let's take your folded up blanket and let's bring it into the hand so that your head has a nice place to rest. And we're going to feel this stretch into the top, the rib cage that's on the top. Now you can take this top hand, you can reach it over. That to me feels fantastic. It may or may not feel that way to you. You decide where you want to be. You might just be resting here with the hand on the cushion. Your knees, at this point, my knees are stacked, and that's where I want us to start. But after a while, you may decide, hey, I want to straighten my legs and really come to this long side body. So we're all going to start with knees bent. Help yourself into that position. I'll give you a cue at the right time if you'd like to lengthen the legs. Let's all just start with the knees bent. You can play with that arm overhead or not. Supporting your head on the blanket, which is resting on your arms. You can also put a block underneath that. That's probably what I should have done too. So block, blanket, and then I'm finally tall enough to be comfortable. Yeah, this is much better for me. And then my whole side body gets this nice stretch. So here we are resting in this side body stretch. Think about it as you're breathing, just breathing into the top side of that rib cage right now. Expanding and contracting into the intercostal muscles. Now, if everything's going well and you'd like to extend the legs long, go ahead. It's not necessary, it's not mandatory, but it is an option if you want to go there. If the legs are long, let's bend the knees, bring them back. So we're kind of in fetal position on this support. And let's just take that top shoulder back a little bit, just opening up the upper body just a little bit. Take a breath or two right here. And just return to where you started. Take that top hand onto the cushion. Very slowly push yourself up. Pause there. Notice how things feel. Notice if you feel a difference one side to the other. And then we're going to do the other side. The easiest thing to do, in my opinion, is bring your back to the cushion and then switch to the other side. Now, I'm going to stay here because this is where the microphone is. But we get close. We have whatever support we need for our heads. Hold those in our arm. And then we drape the body over. So my pelvis is still on the floor. And then we let the head rest on a pile of blankets or whatever on your hand. So this is nice. My knees are stacked. I can play games with this top arm, finding length in side body, but breathing into the top of the rib cage. So we'll set up here. I'll let you know when it's time to extend the legs. Let's just start here, finding the pose, resting into the pose. So know that this cushion, whatever it is, can support you, right? Just let your body be heavy into that cushion, into the mat beneath you. If you'd like to extend those legs, now would be the time.